Let's, before we start the class on this, the 4 foundation of mindfulness, chiefly focus on this Pali version. So let us just, because we are about to go to discuss about the contemplation of the mind, okay? And even probably, if we definitely have enough time, we would go to the contemplation of Dharma, in particular to the 5 aggregates. Yeah, before that, but I still like to know any questions there with what we just read last week or before last week. I mean, because I don't know how you feel this discussion, because so actually before when this is a text, we have to understand this is a text in Theravada Buddhism or in Pali Buddhism is the most important text, I could say, because particularly people who are interested in doing the vipassana, I mean the insight meditation, none of the teacher will say, I never read these 4 foundations of mindfulness. In Pali tradition, if you said, I never read that, the teacher will definitely be kicked out. Nobody will believe him, okay? So it's the same thing like if you are in the Pure Land school, you say, I never read this Amitabha Sutra, and then people will kick you out, The same thing. It is so important in Pali Buddhism. And it's not only important actually in Pali Buddhism. That's what people thought. Oh, this is especially if you are from Chinese version, you think, oh, because this is just a Theravada, or according to maybe Tibetan tradition, or maybe because some other tradition will say, oh, this is actually just because of Hinayana. It's not true, because if you read this text again and again and again and again and again and again, then whenever you encounter some other passages, either in any Mahayana text or even like the most important meditation text, they always quote something from here. So you will know why I want to say that. Once you read more in the future, you happen to read something, and then why do you want to quote from here? Because this is really one of very important practice texts.
Even Zen people are reading it too.
Yeah, it's a very important practice text. Also, sometimes they want to quote that text because they have different ideas. Okay, but anyway, so that's the reason why we start to read the Chinese first, and then we are going to read the Pali, and then we are going to really, sometimes we have a lot of discussion there. So I think the main discussions, the main purpose of discussion is just to let you understand. So even how you understand certain things, they have so many different opinions too. Either in the modern time, people have different opinions, or either even old time. Okay, during the old time there are some other different opinions. Okay, so that's why I encourage you, if you read this text, either you read it as because you find all this text is so simple. It's not simple. But if you find that this text is very dry, it's not dry. But also, if you just only want to read a text because of practice reason, but sometimes I don't think that you should just only read it that way too, because it is certainly all the texts are practices, about practices or about meditation, but still you need to learn how other people, even in practice or meditation, how they look certain passage or certain sentence or certain words differently. Okay. Yes, I think before we go to the mind, we need to just say just give me a second first. So the question best to ask what in the past first, what we learned. So, okay, yeah.
It seems like practice, it seems like when you're watching, as Satipatthana says, I'm finding very strange sensation that this is kind of a stranger. My body is not really my body. I'm just kind of like living in this house, but it's not my house, I'm in the house. So it's just a feeling of kind of strangeness that this is really not me or my body. It just feels like a stranger watching itself, kind of. So it creates this kind of an observed kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But yet I know that it's kind of a strange feeling, It's like when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I go, who is that? There's a strangeness and yet distance, but I'm still very present. So is that sort of the idea that you are free from all the cravings, thoughts, and ideas that Jung just thinks about all these things? So I can look at more this sort of dispassionately, the kind of what's going on here, but also hold it with kindness and, you know, and respect. So it's kind of this, I don't know if that's your experience.
No, I think since we're reading this text, okay, try to limit to this text at the moment.
What I'm talking about there is basically, looking
Yeah,
at something like the
I know.
body. Or,
Yeah, but then when we look at the text lists, or either in the Chinese version, say that Pali version now, okay. When you look at the Pali version now, so of course we don't have the word called strange, all right. It will always have the words that if you have the right mindfulness and and then that which will build up this clear comprehension, and it will give you the satisfaction or some kind of like the volume. I translate like a volume of the knowledge of and the volume of the more advanced mindfulness. That's why they have the term called Patisati Matthaya and Yana Mattaya. So it means so in other words, we need to limit our, if we say the kaya, I mean the body. So even though there are so many explanations what body it means, but look at the elements, the list. The body is that either you regard your body and organs, either you observe the breath, right? Or either because you are doing the four elements. So even though they have so many different techniques of four elements, or either you are meditate on this, that you kind of like to do your body too, but you're contemplating that, you know, people will die on the corpse, they become a corpse, and what happened with the corpse, so I will have the same thing too, right? That. So that is one way. This is the reason why the text is being important in a way, because then you are not out of the range of what we believe the Buddha said, that you are in this range. But when your mind in any of this range, you should be okay, because you understand one way at least, that means this is the body. So that's why the Pali called Ati, right? Ati Kayo, Ti, that he understand, that understanding build up his mindfulness also.
So there is a space and kind of detachment though, isn't it?
It is a detachment.
But it's still, you're very present, but without abandoning it.
No, I want to say this is, you don't say, okay, I just have the feeling, and the feeling I feel detached, right? But it's not a very clear statement. You could say, when I'm observing my posture, I just observe my posture. But I could observe my posture because I observe my posture changing. The arising and the ceasing, or arising and ceasing, right? We have that statement there. You see the arising Dhamma, that means the phenomena of rising. Or you see the ceasing. Let's say changing. My hand is changing because my hand from here to there. Normally you just said, I'm moving my hands, right? But now you don't say you're moving your hand, you just know that your hand is changing. So that's what they mention in the text. So it's believed that, or according to the text, of course, for practical reason, whether it's true or not, you have to be your own judge, right? But by the text saying that, when you knowing this is say that I'm knowing my posture, either I'm sitting or standing, or either I'm moving, bending my body, you know, stretching my body or whatever, I'm going to, anyway, there's some movement you're doing. So even that is also the contemplation of body, right? We know that according to the text. But if you say, while I'm observing this body moving, and I see the arising, say, maybe not ceasing, just arising. So that itself, the statement say, you actually contemplating the body with regard to the body. And that will lead to what? This is the passage say that, right? It will lead to that you'll be independently. You independently means that you become independent, and also you have cast away the craving or the grasping to the word or regard to the word, right? But sometimes we just discuss today, actually, I was just discussing to one of my students about, because I had to help him to read his Pali. And that time, I also find when you translate the word mean, we did translate with last time we said, oh, maybe we should translate. So you cast away the grasping in the word. That I think that might be wrong, because in the word mean what? But I think with regard to the word, because that's how you understand what means by the word too. Okay, anyway. So that's just a translation thing, but it might give some other meaning. So I want to say is that then that's clear. So either I'm just observing my four elements, either I'm just observing my breath, or either I'm just observing my movement, or either I'm just knowing my sitting or standing, or either I'm just knowing my feelings. What this feeling, that feelings, this feeling. Either the feelings were from, do you remember one is the feeling with the flesh, one is feelings with the meditation or spirituality. So, and either you have the good feeling, a bad feeling, a neutral feeling. That itself, you will have this, what we just mentioned, that you will live independently, and then you could live independently and you could be able to cast away the grasping with regard to the word. I mean, that will be clear. Get it now? I hope that you maybe people who never practice fire are a bit strange. But even we imagine why this text is important, I want to stress this. Because people have so many interesting ideas about what practice is about. And people have so many ideas what mean by casting away the defilement is, right? Tell me, what do you mean by casting away the defilements? Or I don't want to say the last moment of casting the defilement. We learn a bit, those you've been in Abhidhamma class, some who've been in Abhidhamma class, especially like Saravastivada Abhidhamma. So the last moment when you really cut off these defilements and then you become the saint, of course, it's a crucial moment, and they have their very, very solid, or you could say very solid and very clear system. But it doesn't mean that the Pali also use the same system. But we must understand, everybody understand this part, that when you walk on the path, that like you say, when there's a path you walk on. So in other words, when you walk on a path to build up your mindfulness, why you need to build the mindfulness and clear comprehension, because that mindfulness and clear comprehension will lead you to attain the sainthood. That's said very clearly in the earlier passage. So, but in between, while you're practicing, people of course are thinking, oh, I must enter the jhana. When I'm in the jhana, so I am the saint. Of course, you know this is a wrong idea after you study. And then, but what I want to say is that basically, from Buddhist perspective, how you actually able to start to eradicate, or you can live really out of this kind of problem already. How? I don't know whether you still catch. How? Because people think, oh, by the time I must have the jhana, either then I will I will be able to eradicate, or don't say eradicate, I will be able to tame. Okay, maybe that's the best one. I will be able to tame my defilements. That's one thing. And or other people they think, oh no. You know, some teaching don't teach jhana, so not the jhana. So you must do vipassana. So you must do insight meditation. So the insight meditation will help you to you tame your defilements. Is it correct or not? You don't know, right? But then the problem is that when the people think, that's it, you must do vipassana. And then what is vipassana? Some say, oh, the vipassana is this way. Some say vipassana that way. Some say vipassana this way. Some say without that. So many different vipassana. And then we still have a doubt. So if I never really learned that vipassana, but sometimes when I do meditation, why I also feel I live quite all right. At least there's a one moment, two moments, right? Mm-hmm. Hello, don't just look at me like a stone. Right?
Okay, not to my head.
Right, you do have that. So could you say that I don't do vipassana or I don't have samadhi, whatever? But here is very clear. I mean, I'm just saying this. Say if you read the text, you have to be really careful. When you read again and again and again, you'll find what he wants to say. When the moment, right? When the time you observe your body, you know you're sitting, you know you're standing. That moment itself, you live independently. Nope. If you really practice and practice, you know that there's no argument about that, right? So that's what I want to say. So don't restrict it also. And then don't slide on this statement like, oh, what is meant by contemplating the body as the body? Because you know you're sitting, you know you're standing. That's really funny kind of statement, I mean, for people, right? Because people fancy, oh, so I can eradicate my defilement. I should be either, normally there are people who learn different type of, like in Tibetan or any, they would think, oh, then I need to be, must be called the Buddha coming and the Bodhisattva coming. So no, it's the Buddha said is that way is that because you know you're sitting, you know you're standing, that moment itself. So, but this is a wisdom. This is a wisdom. So of course, if you look at the Zen kind of saying also, I'm not to say about Zen, I'm not good at Zen, and even teachings and anything, but I just want to say, but I understand this. That's why he say, it's just a different way of talking. Like, actually you practice your Zen is any time you practice your Zen, So, but that sounds a little bit not very secular, not very sacred, right? 不是很神圣, not sacred. So, but anyway, we had to back to the text. I just want to let you, so that's why the text, every element of practice, every element mentioned in practice of contemplation with regard to the body, with regard to the feelings, that's what we have done. So always mention either because that is a feeling, or that's the body, or it is arising, or it's falling, right, or ceasing, or is arising or ceasing. Then in other words, more arising and ceasing, or that what is that? What else? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's the 4 thing, and then they have something more. I think, yeah. Basically, if you know this thing, so you are in that itself is sufficient for you to. In other words, that itself is fulfilling the practice of contemplation of the body with regard to the body, or something to the feelings with that kind of feelings. Okay, with this, what kind of result will be? So you live independently, and then you do not grasp anything with regard to the world. Any question? Or it's so abstract? Yes.
My experience, I took myself as a slow learner, and always at the doorstep, never get to particle insight and perhaps the essence of the mindfulness or the teaching.
No.
But when practice, it seems like to incorporate some of the concept. I don't know whether this is correct or incorrect.
Yeah, you can say that incorporate with the concept, because when you don't have that, that's the reason why I always say the Noble Eightfold Path, right? So that is a path. And the path itself, it has to consist of the 8, right? The 8, what we call the 8th Noble Eightfold Path, the 8th path. So, and then the one is the right view. And then the right contemplation. Contemplation is not right mind. It's not right consciousness, but it's the contemplation, what we call the right thought, sorry. So you have this right thought. So for example, if I sit here, my sitting is maybe very short moment, but the moment if I just know I'm breathing out, I'm breathing in, maybe my meditation power is not strong, but I just know that moment I'm breathing in and breathing out. Then I know this is breathing in, breathing out, not with the language, right? Then I had the concept, this is this, this is that, right? In other words, the breath is like this, the breath is like that. then you're practicing the contemplation of the body with regard to the body. Okay, and that moment, the very moment when you just know that you breathe in, you breathe out, actually you don't have any defilements. And that moment you don't have, that's why they say, what does mean by you live independently? Because you don't hold any idea, the opinions, what we call the jian. So the view, you don't have the view. Like, if you had the view, it would be like what? It would be like, why I don't have a good breath? Why the breath should not be the hot? I must be bad body. My body must be very bad. That's why my breath is now is cold, right? Those are the view. Get it now? But if you feel the breath is in, it's in. It's out, it's out. That's it.
Sound like a Zen master. That's so simple. That's so.
No, but of course it's
so
but because our mind is full of the view. And the other thing, and then that's why I say, and then you don't have the last too. The last is like, it doesn't feel comfortable. The breath is so short. If it's a long breath, then you'll be, that's feel of the life. So that's why you imagine that moment when you just know there's in and out breath without concept, but there's a wisdom there. Understand it?
So deep.
Then that's what he said. That this is the body, because that moment you know this is body. You don't take the body as this sour. You don't. You get it now? Now, this is how you started to build up the word. They have your word, yana mataya in Pali, patisati mataya, right? It means you start to build up the volume of the at once mindfulness, and the volume in a way I use volume. You could say measurement. It's
wisdom
kind of
increases.
Yeah, you increases the wisdom, and actually they don't use the word wisdom because the word usually is panya. I like to translate literally mean the knowledge, jnana, because it uses the jnana. So you increase this kind of knowledge, and you increase the knowledge, and you also increase the sati, mean at once mindfulness. Get it now? It's very important, otherwise you always learn Buddhism and then you always try to chasing after this and chasing after that. And if you don't have this rooted understanding, however much you read the Buddhist text, and then you always try to chase something else and create only opinions, right? But once you understand this really down to earth, just right here, either I observe the hardness, the softness, there's a earth element, you don't call, this is earth, this is opinion too, right? No, you just know, it become like that, it become like this. So that moment, imagine if you can let your mind just stay in this way. That moment, you don't have anything problem. You don't, in other words, same thing again, you stay independently. And then you do not create the grasping with regard to the word. Get it now? So that is actually, because in all other religions, the same as in Indian religion in the past, they like to have the meditation power because they think they can be connect to the God. Is it wrong way to think? Not necessarily. However, but if you think that is a way for liberation, then it's wrong. You get it now? Okay. So that's how you don't build up this kind, you don't interfere. You would not be able to, you won't be interfere with the word. Okay, all right. Let's look at this next, if any other question with that? No. So we just back to, I think, if you have a question we can ask later. Let's read something about the mind now. The page 42, number 3, contemplation of mind. Okay. I think, why don't all of you just read to it first? Okay. Okay, and bhikkhus.
How does the bhikkhu avoid contemplating mind with regards to mind?
Here,
bhikkhu knows the mind affected with lust as a mind affected with lust. He knows the mind affected with lust as a mind affected with lust. He knows a mind affected with hate as a mind affected with hate. He knows a mind affected with hate as a mind affected with hate. He knows a mind affected with delusion as a mind affected with delusion. He knows a mind unaffected with delusion as a mind unaffected with delusion. He knows an infatuated mind as an infatuated mind. He knows a distracted mind as a distracted mind. He knows an exalted mind as an exalted mind. He knows an exalted mind as an exalted mind, unaffected with exalted. He knows a surpassed mind. He knows the mind, the unsurpassed mind. He knows the mind of absorption. He knows the mind of absence of absorption. He knows the liberated mind. He knows an unliberated mind. In this way, he abides contemplating the mind with regards to the mind internally, or he abides contemplating the mind with regards to the mind externally, or he abides contemplating the mind with regards to the mind both internally and externally, or he abides contemplating the mind observing the arising of a phenomena, or he abides contemplating the mind observing the ceasing of phenomena, or he abides contemplating the mind in observing the arising and ceasing of phenomena, or mindfulness that there is a mind is virtually present in it, as far as for purpose of knowledge and fully remembrance. He abides independently, not clinging to anything in the world. This is how a big book contemplating the mind with regards to.
Okay, thank you. Right. When you look at the list of, we don't, actually, when you look at the list, firstly, now we know that we are coming to, because if you, for comparative, the rougher or the easier, generally, when people to begin with, it is very hard for people to understand what the mind is about. So, but of course, it's maybe much easier for somebody to understand what the feelings is about, right? That's the reason why in the earlier list, when you talk about the feelings, you always know there's a pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, and then the neutral feelings. And even later, you will understand the pleasant feelings and unpleasant feelings and neutral feelings with regard to this sensual pleasure, right? The eye like to see something. The ear want to hear something. That's what we call the five sensual core. That's how 五欲 in Chinese. That's how usually it's very commonly said in Buddhism, the five sensual cores. The tongue, So you have the same thing either in the tongue, your body, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and these five sensual cores that you have this kind of the feelings. That's what we call the feelings, either the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feelings. Then you move on, actually, especially people we are talking, because this is a practice text. It's not for normal people who don't understand what it means by practice, right? So, and then the next one is about, then you will have this so-called the unflesh or the spiritual kind of understanding. For what? That's why with that spiritual usually refer to six kind of it, right? So, and then the main important, of course, is your mental, your mind. So let's say the people have the jhana, so and then they know there's a pleasant feelings, right? When they don't have the jhana, they don't have the pleasant feelings, for example. And when they attain a certain jhana, so they are in the neutral feelings. Or not only that, because it's, say, even when the people have these spiritual practice, like mind is so calm down, not necessarily because of jhana, like just we mentioned, because your practices are so good, you always could stay as the wave. The mind just observing what it should be observed, right? And then you also have, like, the leg is pain, for example. So even with the spirituality you develop, you see the different thing of the leg is pain. I'm saying you know what I mean? So, and that's mean you know the leg is pain, that is a body contact. But then you could create, because it's pain, then you have the feelings of unpleasant feelings. Or you could have this, the understanding of the pleasant feelings too. Might be because you meditate, you feel the whole body was quite nice. Or maybe you sometimes the neutral feelings. So when you develop this sort of thing, not also only, but generally speaking, because comparatively they are more subtle, and then now you can move to the mind now. It doesn't mean that you don't move to the mind when you practice, sometimes you do. But when you practice so well, so good, right? And then you so well know about your physical body, that they are only composed of this sort of thing. And then it will generally move you to, somehow the Dhamma, basically the practice itself will move you to see more about feelings. When the feelings come to that way, and then somehow you move you to see more about the mental, basically the mind. Now the first mind is about, you will know whether there's the first thing is, what is, let me see.
Last.
Whether you have the last or no last, right? Or whether you're last or no last. So, but it's very clearly, at least in the Pali commentary, say, anyway, these three things, the last and no last, and then because the Pali word is called vika moha, okay, vida moha, vida dosa, and so on. So usually, sometimes when you say, when someone who meditate and see they are out of this kind of no last, for example, people read that as a kind sand. People are really highly supermantan practices. Everyone understand what I mean by supermantan? It's not for normal people. They are sent already, at least. Or they either the Buddha, Arahant, maybe they are the first sainthood, the second sainthood, third sainthood. Or they've been attained the fourth sainthood, anything. So, but the commentary said very clearly, because the same word they're using, sometimes the word means without the last, right? Especially in the Pali time I'm talking about. And then it's also very easy for people to take it mean the mind that when someone have no last, it means that mind is the same mind. You know what I'm saying? But the commentary, for whatever reason, he just said that first, these three things with regard to the mind, whether have this ignorance or without, or whether they have without the delusion, without the hatred, without the lust, it doesn't refer to the supramantan. Okay, it still refers to the mantan. It means that actually people sometimes you do have the mind with the lust, and then you do have the mind without the lust. Okay, you get it now? But as I say again, I stress this again. Why he can't worry about this? Because the word, especially in Pali, in English maybe, I don't know. I cannot talk about English with the translation nowadays. But in the Pali, because the word when you read a Vidamoho, it means somebody are really no delusion. And this is very dangerous. Why I want to say, I even know in Taiwan, in any other places, there are monks who talk, they say, that means that people are out of delusion. But they still have 5 hindrances. They still get angry. Right? But the words say, no delusion. So I don't, but then they still have anger. They always get angry. They have jealous. So that's why I guess it's one reason why the communists say the word even here refer to no delusion. Even though it's a word, that doesn't refer to mean you're Buddha and Arahant. It doesn't mean that. Just mean that moment, the moment that when you meditate, that you have the delusion mind, and then you don't have the delusion mind. Either you have this last mind without the last mind, or either because you have the anger mind or without the anger mind. Okay? But of course in the commentary, especially the Pali commentary, because they are highly involved with the Abhidhamma, so they explain it. I'm going to explain it later, but a little bit more later. But they will explain it in terms of in Abhidhamma system, what kind of mind you have this kind of the lust or the craving, what kind of mind. So there are 8 of it, right? Those who study Abhidhamma, 喜极相应无形，喜极相应有形，喜极不相应无形。Anyway, forget about that. Just, those who would study the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, might have idea, but they forget it. But at least there's a kind of mind that to do with the pleasure feelings, but because, however, it's still the root of it is the craving or the lust there, And then there are 2 kinds of it, and to do with the anger, right? The anger. So one is a prompted and unprompted, but still there are 2 kinds of it to do with anger, and two kinds of it to do with this what we call this delusion. So either because due to the confusion you have, like your mind scatter away, no focus, That's why the delusion comes. Or because of this delusion and what is it? I suddenly forgot.
Restlessness?
Agitation, yeah. No, one is agitation is the same thing, what I mean scattered away. And the other is a doubt. When you have doubt, okay, the two. So that's Abhidhamma system. But however, in general means, you have to understand means that then somebody know whether they have this kind of mind, they don't have this kind of mind. So, and they started to aware this, right there, okay. Or either you right, you understand this kind of mind arise, or you either understand that this kind of mind cease. Either you understand this kind of mind arise and cease. Get it now? Or either you just only know, delusion mind, no delusion mind, so something like this. So, but of course not language, okay? You must understand this, all the word here don't speak language. Now, I am happy mind. Actually, I'm not happy, right? No, really no, oh, I'm not happy. That's a feeling, right? And then you see that there's let me see what kind of mind I have now. Okay, at least I find that I don't have a focused mind. So, and that's a scattered mind, right? But I don't use a language, this is scattered mind, no. But it, the text is then, so you just know it. So, and yes.
So the moment you realize, and of course, the words to a certain extent have to have some meaning because they're attached to the knowledge. But the moment you know that you recognize that you don't have a doubt or a particular craving or any kind of pleasure, the moment when you recognize that, whether you don't have hate or you do have hate, the moment you recognize in that sort of nanosecond of knowing, that is what you look for. That it doesn't have a particular word, but it's just not there. It doesn't arise, or the moment you notice it arises and it ceases, that is what this means. That's why I read it. For me, it's very simple, although it's very hard to do. Because the feelings arise very quickly and leave very quickly. You got to catch it. So that's what it's talking about. Being able to sort of, and I'm going to use a word probably that's not good, where you're slowing something down in your mind, or the Dharma, the sort of something out of a movie, sort of slow motion, you're able to pinpoint it.
I think it's, this is also some other discussion over there too. It's not just slowing the mind, it is also, I don't think it's called slowing the mind. Actually, this is how our perception is so interesting. We always been trapped on the concept of time. So when you only actually, the moment that when you're observing some Dharma, when your focus becomes so concentrated, time's gone. The concept of times do not. So this is what we call the conventional concept or secular concept. I don't know what you use the word, but I'm not good at these four-dimensional ideas and this and that. But generally, it means that the time idea is gone. That's the reason why, if you think that you are slowed down, let's say, if you think you're slowed down, say that even you walk, maybe the same pace. When other people look at you, they walk in the same pace. You are still walking the same pace. But to you, if you're so focused on your practices, you thought you are so, anyway, time is not there.
It's not invested.
So when you finish a meditation, you thought, and let's say you're really good at walking, because walking you can see, right? I don't want to talk about sitting now. So you might be just walk 10 pace during a half hour. So people saw that you walk, right? But you might be thought you were only just 5 minutes you were walking the 10 pace, something like that. So it's just after that you think, oh, maybe I'll on 5 minutes. Oh, what, half hour I walk 10 pace? Like that, right? So the time just dissolved basically, I guess.
My question, I think, is having the knowledge that you were walking, and again, independently to use it as sort of the observer, that yes, you're walking, although the concept of time almost disappears, it becomes a non-issue, but you have to have some knowledge that you're doing it, correct? Even though it's independent?
Mindful.
Well,
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by the knowledge here now.
I just read this and it says, or mindfulness, that is, a mind is virtually present in him as far as for purpose of knowledge and fully remembrance. Because in order to know you're doing something and to repeat it and to know you're doing your practice, you have to have some knowledge and some remembrance. Am I reading too much into it? And it says here,
I think this is a vice versa. I mean, you need to have a knowledge, and then you need to also have the right object, right? I mean, especially definitely in the early Buddhism way of understanding, the right object is very important. But definitely in the later, like Mahayana, they might have different idea with whether the right object is really the matter, or because your wisdom is really the matter, or the knowledge is really the matter. So I would take it maybe for a beginner, definitely the object is very important. But this is said that very clearly already, like you just read it. So because when you practice, and then it suddenly build up a certain knowledge, and then the knowledge, of course, will help you up, just like people. It's very common, like people when they practice, like meditation. Even they say I'm practice samatha, the concentration meditation, and when the leg pain, right, is always disturb them. I said, look at the leg, fine, just know it's pain. But then the mind, because they don't have the knowledge, like you say, and of course that comes from the doubt to Buddhism. Look at the leg pain, this is not meditation. And you think I'm a loser, I'm not a good meditator, right? So this is out of the doubt, and they start to lose the faith, what we call the 5 roots. Right? Even though it looks like in technique itself, the method itself, even though I am not doing some other technique because his leg is pain, right? According to some other technique, but this is another long story. I want to cut it short. Generally, no. If the person the teacher asked him look at the pen, I don't know what it is. He doesn't have knowledge, but he just listen, and then he just look at the pen object. The pen is an object of observing, and this is called the right object. If you just look at it, and you feel somehow strange when I see the pen itself, that moment, if he can really, no doubt, right? That's what we call no delusion. No delusion and no agitation mean the mind is not want to just look at it. At that moment, they are practice Satipatthana. Right?
That answers my question.
Okay.
But on top of that, but before that, it says, or mindfulness that there is a mind, mindfulness, that which is present in him for purpose of knowledge and fully remembrance. That's the whole sentence.
Yeah.
And mindfulness that there is a mind, virtually present, as far as possible of knowledge and fully remembrance.
Okay. All right, let's look at this, the next one, after the tree, which is sound very common in Buddhism talking, that either you have delusion without delusion, either hatred without hatred, or either you have this, the lust without lust, right? And then the next one is the pair, but usually we go with the pair, but sometimes the pair have some discussion too. So, and then he know that whether he was his mind unaffected, or either he knows his infatuated mind as infatuated mind, or he knows distracted mind as distracted mind. Okay. Actually, this is definitely, there's lots of discussion about this word. In the Pali word is sankita and vikita. Okay. Because I have to say, when I translate this as infatuated, because I still will be influenced by basically commentary ideas. Okay. We are going to discuss that. Look at why I translate this, and then also why the infatuated has been translated, and how commentary look at this first. And then anyway, look at this pair. There's a Pali word called sankitang and vikitang. Okay. So he knows infatuated mind, because it say that the kind of infatuated mind is because when the mind have drowsiness. Okay. When you have drowsiness, so it's infatuated mind. And he knows that his mind is a distracted mind. Why is distracted? Because he has agitation mind. You know, what we call this turbo, how to say, 调举, the agitation and regret mind. Okay. So he knows the distracted mind as distracted mind. So this is based on the commentary way of understanding. Because commentary think that the Sankita, even though the word Sankita, it means kind of like strong. Okay. And so that's why he say then the consciousness will fall into the sloth and turbo. Okay. Fall into the sloth and turbo. So, or you can understand as the strived or contracted state of mind, you know, strong. And then we keep down. So it's a distracted mind because it's accompanied with agitation. Okay? Or you could understand that as a dissipated mind. Okay. Right. That's the one way I understand it. Why don't we just finish this first and we run that good because it's easier. I don't want to jump now. And then because we're going to discuss this for later more. Okay. And then he knows exalted mind as exalted mind. He knows unexalted mind as unexalted mind. Is that my pronunciation all right? It's called exalted?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Unexalted, exalted.
Okay.
Is this going towards a more unworldly?
When according to the commentary way of saying, exalted mind, it means somebody who have the mind, when they enter the jhana, that from the first jhana, that means what we call the jhana of the form to formless.
It's exalted mind.
Yeah. An exalted mind, it refers to the mind that people are only, it's still a good mind, but it's like in the sensual pleasure, the jhana, right? So-called an exalted mind. In other words, mean a kind of jhana mind, but one is lower level, one is more higher level. And then you also understand the mind has the so-called the surpassed mind and the mind of beyond the surpassed mind. Okay. The surpassed mind, according to commentary, it refers to basically it's the same thing, but I'm just wondering why, if it's the same thing, they have to. So here, according to commentary, that the surpassed mind, or the surpassed mind is mean that refers to any consciousness state belonging to the plane of sensual experience. That means you are like in the sensual, you are in the kind of jhana mind, but only in the sensual pleasure, sensual experience.
So still rupa jhanas.
Yeah, like no. It's mean the upajjhara samadhi only up to that kind of state. Yeah. So you are just in the plane of sensual experience, and the so-called unsurpassed mind, or so that belong to the so it means beyond it. It means you are in the higher jhana, like the form and formless, you know. And then you have this so-called this absorption, and he knows my absent from absorption. I don't think I need to explain that. Any question with that? So anyway, the people, whether they have this jhana mind or without the jhana mind, okay, the absorption mind and without absorption mind. And then you also have the vimutti citta, is it right? Mm-hmm. And then you have this avimutti citta. So. So either you know that whether your mind, either because through the jhana or because through your practice, your defilement been suppressed. It's called the liberated mind, okay? Or without the liberated mind. So So basically mean either any kind of the mind that those you don't have this kind of temporarily liberated. Temporarily. For example, so like I got anger, right? You can know that I have the anger mind. And now, because I have generate loving kindness, so I don't have anger. So that means you know you have the mind without anger. Or you could just know, because I still have this loving kindness mind still stays. So my defilements, so particularly the defilements of the anger would not arise. So it's called liberated, temporarily, right? But when then my loving kindness gone, and then I have this kind of like anger comes out, then you know this liberated mind is not there, okay? So this is the Pali version, say about the 10 pairs with regard to the minds. So, and then he say, in this way, he abides contemplating the mind with regard to the mind internally, that means yourself. And externally, you know, there are so many explanations, but I still like to follow the commentary. And of course, I still think that is possible too, that regard to others. We are going to discuss that later a little bit. And then either internally or externally, mean you meditate to yourself, but you have to start to yourself, that's for sure, okay, in Buddhism. So, and then, or externally, exchangeably, okay? Or then, or you know that this kind of feelings arising, or you know it's ceasing, or you know it is arising and ceasing, right? Or you know that it is this kind of mind, okay? And then this will lead you, basically will help you, as far as then you up to the point that you will build up strong mindfulness and then increasing your knowledge. And these two things will help you to be independent, stay independently. In other words, would not be meddled by what they call this the notion, basically the view, right? The definement from the view, and then the last will not disturb you. That's why you could stay independently, and then what they call not clinging to anything with regard to the world, right? So that means you would not say this is I, this is myself, this is mine, okay? Or this is I, this is myself, or this is mine, this is mine or myself. That's why you don't cling with regard to the world. Get it now? All right, so this is one of the version in Pali, but I think I'd like to discuss, I think we still have time. Looks like everybody feel very sleepy. No? Or not agitated? So can you pass down this note first? 这个还有多一本书。来 can you, even he doesn't have a book, can you just pass down the book for him too? 哦，你没有，你拿一份这个。Sorry, one more here too. One here, so he doesn't have forget. Yeah. Is it enough?
You have enough?
Yeah, one note here. Come on, and then over there behind.
Do you have? Well, we can share.
No, I think we have enough. It should be. One note here. Here. Is it enough? No more?
Yeah, there's a few left.
Two left, and then you can note. Okay. But actually, I would do that in the last minute, so I didn't have time to do the thing. But I just, since I done it already, I just thought we need to talk about a little bit. Actually, this is interesting. People who learn the last classes, we're learning about the Abhidhamma, right? The Salavastiva, the Abhidhamma. And then I like also to talk about in the Sanskrit, in the Salavastiva Abhidhamma, so they have a different list. But of course, all of them are almost the same, okay? But I'm not going to read that first page now. Shall we first go to the second place, at the page, right? When you look at the second page, So the first one is that you could see there's just Chinese and Sanskrit and Pali there. Okay. Firstly, if you see there's the word in the Italy letter, it means Sanskrit. But the Pali is, I didn't put it in the Italy letter. There's a Pali language. And then behind, I put this YBH. It's referred to the Yogacara Bhumi in the Mahayana. Actually, it's very important meditation text, which I always refer. I mean, and later we'll discuss something about from there too. I mean, 一切四谛论. When you look at it, the YBH mean the 一切四谛论. Okay. So the assemblies is there. The first is that you understand. So even in the Sanskrit, say that you understand, or in the Chinese, you understand there's a mind with the desire and the mind without a desire, or with the lust, depending how you translate. And then the third one is with the hatred and without the hatred. The fifth and sixth one is with the delusion, and the sixth one is without the delusion. We don't have the question with that, okay? Now, and then actually, why there's a 7 and 8? Because with the defilement and without defilement is the one that you found in the Chinese version we read last time, okay? We read it last time. And that's why you don't see I have put a Pali there. There's no Pali there, okay? And I only put the Chinese because only in the first, they also added up with the defilement and without defilement. And then number 9, number 10, which is always questionable. And it's very debatable. It means the word means samsitan, but in Pali called sankitan. So some people try to translate the mind is collected. Remember what we translate? We translate as the, I think it's called infatuated, right? The word that with infatuated mind. And this word, sankitan, in Chinese translate as almost like contracted mind or concentrated mind. Somebody could misunderstood it in that way. But that's from a Chinese version. But in some other place, you also can find that they can be translated as
collected is the opposite of distracted.
Huh?
That makes sense too. Collected and distracted, opposites of one another.
They also translate 卷数，我不会怎么写起来。卷这个竖起来的竖，卷数。卷就是这样卷起来嘛，卷就是不是卷，就是卷数。我现在那个没有写很清楚。And it's okay. It's because it's the word. It's so complicated that even in the Abhidhammakosa, 一些释论, the 俱释论 also take a long passage to discuss about this. Okay. Now, why I want to tell this is because that's the reason why you find very interesting. Because if you start to read the Buddhist text, and then when there's a time you're going to read something else like the 俱释论, Abhidhammakosa, you know why they want to talk this passage. And they have a long debate about this. Okay. Why they want to debate this? They don't want to debate other things. They knew that already in that time, even until now actually. What does it mean by the contracted here, what I put, or collected mind? Still have so many different opinions. Okay? Now let's look at the list first and then we go. So you have this list called, in Chinese, it's called samsitam in Sanskrit, contracted mind. And then you have the mind called distracted mind. Okay? And then you have the other one is called, which is not in the Pali, it means you have the inferior mind, you could say inferior, and then you have this, the kind of like, no actually,
inferior?
no I don't think it's not inferior, it's wrong translation. It's, I don't know how to translate that. Usually it means a little lower, it's true, a lower mind, and then the other one is mean you have the exalted mind, something like higher mind, okay? Now, but you, at the same time, you don't have a Pali too. That is called, you have this so-called agitated mind, okay? And then you have the unagitated mind. The utang here is different word from agitated. The utang is not the word same as what we call agitation.
Oh, yeah?
So it's a kind of like too high. Or you could high mind, too high mind, or without a high mind. You know high? When you took excited or excited mind or without excited.
Overjoyed?
Yeah, overjoyed, excited mind, and unexcited mind. And then we're going to explain what are these, okay? And then you have this small mind, you have the big mind, okay? And then accordingly, you should have two more, the up mind and without the up mind. And the 19 is that you have this, the 19 one is mean without this tranquility mind. And the 20 is with the tranquility mind. When I put this a bracket YBH, it just refers this from the Yogacara Bhumi, or Yishe Sudilun, okay? And then you have this Asamahita, without absorption mind. Actually, we have that Pali. I'll put a Pali. And then with the absorption mind, okay? The number 21 is without absorption mind, 22 is with the absorption mind. You have this in Pali. The same thing, you also have this in Pali. Do they? No, I think no. No, Pali doesn't have it. Yeah. And then you have this so-called this no practice mind. Bhavitang, without practice mind. Yeah, I mean your practice. Or with the practice mind. The 24 is with the practice mind. And then the 25th and 26th that you have the same thing in Pali. The mind with liberation, without liberation, 25th, because they start with that. And then they start with that, then you have this, the 26th, the last one, the mind with liberation, okay? Now let us, because the next one you will see there's a Yogacara Bhumi in Chinese, and then on the last page, the page 4, they will be in Sanskrit, okay? So the meaning of each, let me just, because these are only in Sanskrit, they're only in Sanskrit, so I just need to roughly translate it, okay? So we don't have a question about number, basically we don't have a question about we're back to page 2, okay? We don't have a question about what does it mean by the mind with the desire, without desire, with hatred, without hatred, with delusion, without delusion. We don't need to discuss that because they are the three fundamental root of mind, okay? Now we know that. You must understand that actually that's been explained too. They are the three fundamental root of mind, okay? And then, of course, Yogacara Bhumi doesn't have the 7 and 8, so we are not going to discuss it too, because that's only in the Chinese. Remember I said that the Chinese version of the same text we read last time, okay? So, but then the Yogacara Bhumi have the number 9 and number 10, okay? Right, what does it mean by that number 9?
In terms of pair, it makes sense because everything seems to be in pair.
It should be a
collected and distracted, kind of they are a pair.
It is true. Actually,
so
that's
Yoga Bhumi makes sense in terms of.
yeah, because Yoga Bhumi understand the word samsiktam as the mind that because with the let me see.
The Buddha said distracted mind is a deluded mind.
Yeah. It's called that is that they call that contracted mind or the kind of like collective mind, right? So it because internally you could able to fasten your mind. It's been understood as kind of like good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's samsikta mean contracted, or you could take collective mind. So it because internally through the practice, you could be able to fasten your mind. Get it now? So, this I'm saying this. You can write a whole book about it. It's a long discussion in different area. Okay, but just let you know that. And what does it mean by the other thing called the distracted mind? That here, remember what the party said, the distracted mind? Anyone? Hello, just told you already, and then now nobody responds.
We said, yeah,
What does it mean? Yeah, that's what the party says. It's agitated mind, right? Yeah. Okay, but in this Yogacara Bhumi, understand so-called the distracted mind, of course, opposed to what just now the collected mind or so-called the contracted mind, is because when you had been distracted through this five sense core, and you let them to be carried away, okay?
And scattered.
You're scattered because the five sense core carry you away already and be scattered.
But meditation also means to kind of unify too, isn't it? It's kind of unification and concentration.
No. I mean, this is what that
But I'm
means
saying,
distracted here.
So this collected by your.
No, but even you meditate, for example, in a subtle way. Let's say I meditate, I'm focused now. Let's say I'm focused, simple, my leg pain. But then suddenly you feel I don't like it. But if you are good enough, you don't take this. If you feel you don't like it, you could observe unpleasant feelings. That's fine. Or you observe why you don't like. Basically, you don't like it. It's because you've been carried away with the body contact. You want a good thing there. Okay, that means you have this kind of mind core. I don't know how to translate this.
Desire.
No, distracted mind. Okay. One is observing the feelings. Mean I don't like it. If you're observing the feelings, mean you're contemplating the feelings with regard to the feelings. But if you know the mind is being carried away because you want a good bodily feeling, right? So that means you're distracted mind. In language.
So when you really define is the contracted mind, in that case, the example you just gave it to us, like you observing your unpleasant feeling, right? And then you...
No, if you observe that, when you observe the leg is pain, right? But let's say, okay, maybe let's give you this trait. We learned that trait already. You have to understand. It's very important when you practice. I know that when people always ask a very funny questions, actually sometimes I always laugh. But I cannot laugh because people hate me.
And you're attached to how we feel about you?
No. Now let me give an example, okay? This is why we call insight meditation, right? When people don't understand, they always wanted to have many opinions carry away. And of course, now let me just give it, I don't want to expand that now. Just say example. I'm sitting, and then let's say I sit for 1 hour. My leg is pain, okay? That's very common, it happens anyway. But if you observe, the pain is this,
Contracting.
that.
Something pulsating.
That is mean you're observing the four elements, right? Or if you're observing the pain, but you don't see the pain, for example, the leg is pain, but you just know you're sitting. You don't find that you are also grief also. You have no sorrow, you have no griefness, right? If you're only observing the pain, it's like, it's not pain. You just see become this or become that. Or hot or whatever. So you don't have sorrow. Your mind have no sorrow and grief. You have the mind when you have mind and sorrow and grief because you think, oh, I'm a loser, right? Or you think, it may hurt me because it's interfere. Oh, I will not with others. So you don't. You just know it like that. Okay, this is what we call contemporary body as body. I'm just giving one example with the pen. Your leg is pain because it's a physical one, right? Then or is a pain, but then if you're observing, and then you know this is unpleasant feelings. It doesn't matter. It's just not unpleasant feelings. And then unpleasant. Maybe you will even know the unpleasant feeling is due to the flesh, just like I said. It's not just only know it's unpleasant feeling, but you know this unpleasant feeling is due to the flesh. Just what we learned last week, okay? That the flesh unpleasant feeling. Or, okay, or maybe you know the unpleasant feelings because you will meditate, for example, very good. But then now they carry away from you. And then from your meditation, because the pain is so much. But you only know this is also unpleasant feeling, but you with the spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Because your mind is so quiet. So those, then you are contemplate the feelings with regard to the feelings. I'm saying this is just only one of the example, okay? Now the same thing, if the pain, or you are not looking at the movement, something happening, that like the elements happen, or 4 elements, you are not looking for this and that, but you are looking suddenly, when the pains come, you only know, let's say my mind started to be like, oh, these pains come, it's not joyful, right? And then if you understand, this is more subtle, that your mind, you would not carry away, but that moment, I don't know how to say, you know that you are not staying with the pain, you still being taken away somehow, that let's say your mind will wonder, oh, it should be pleasant, it's better, right? That means you've been carried away. It means you're not collected mind, you're distracted mind. But if you just stay with the pain, then you know that you are as a collected mind. All right? Get it now? So this is mean mind. I think that's maybe easier. Okay. This is why the observant is, that's what mean the sati is about, okay? But of course you know that why the meditator usually, when they have idea, they would think, I was good in meditation, now I don't. So that's distracted because of opinion. And then of course that also doubt comes along. I know it's a little abstract, but I don't know how. Okay, let's just go move on first. If you have a question, we have something to discuss, we can discuss. What does it mean that's why when it's a lower mind? And what does it mean when the mind is like the higher mind? Okay. So it is a lower mind because whenever you observe anything with the sati, when the mind is accompanied with this drowsiness and sleepiness. You see, because they want to put it that here, that's why they cannot explain that there, okay? So, but don't forget, this is all language we are studying, so you don't have to remember the term when you practice. So I mean the mind with the drowsiness and sleepiness, that means the mind is the lower mind. What does it mean when the mind is like a uplifted mind? Because whenever you observe, the mind becomes clear and clear and clear. Okay? Get it now?
You had the shrunken mind in the back of this. Is that what you were talking about?
No, the shrunken mind is the one we said that already. Exactly. The shrunken mind is the contracted mind. So, but that's a Pali version, understand that in a different way. But in the Yogacara Bhumi, understand in a different way. Okay. Right. We discussed that already, right? I hope you didn't get confused. It's very important. Don't think this is a very boring thing, okay? And then you have the so-called the 13 and 14 called Uttanda Anuttandang. Okay, that means with basically with agitated mind. I think you must know what it means. Basically means the mind with agitation, right? But we must understand this word, even its agitation, is still different. It is because when you have the clear mind, however, you've been disturbed by the agitation. Okay? Get it now? You know, I'm sure people practice and know this. So like sometimes your mind was so good, even while you're doing a walking meditation. But because actually somehow, I don't know how to say, I think if you to explain that, it's because you are a little bit overjoyed. So then your mind just stop running, going very fast. Even though you have a very clear mind. Okay? Right. So that's mean by, according to Yogacara, means this is called the agitated mind. It's not because like the drowsiness agitation, it's not that stage. You're clear, but because you're too excited with the clearness, and then become agitated. Okay. Get it now? Okay. So, and then you have another mind, which is, of course, opposite is mean an agitated mind. This is mean when you have very clear, but however, you could use the kind of like collective mind. Remember collective mind means you can fasten your mind, control your mind, so that you become equanimity. That means you are unagitated mind. Okay. All right, and then the other 15, 16, 17, 18, because it doesn't happen in the Yogacara Bhumi, so we are not going to explain it. So, but since we are going to Yogacara Bhumi, you know, when you have to read, there's a bracket YBH, right? And then the number 19, okay. The number 19, it means that people who have this tranquility mind, okay. Why? Because when they can be subdued of 5 hindrances, any of hindrances, the mind are tranquil, okay. You know the 5 hindrances, right? So that like the first one, the lust, the anger, the drowsiness, agitation and regret, and the last is a doubt, right? So you do have that. Sometimes maybe you ask a question to the teacher gives answer, suddenly your mind just calm down. So you observe your mind is this kind of mind. What kind of mind? It means you are tranquil mind, okay? The mind of with the accompanied with the tranquility. And then the same thing when you don't have the tranquility mind. Sorry, that means that number 9 don't have the tranquility mind. Mean you still know your mind have either the lust or either the drowsiness or either the agitation or regret or either because of doubt or either what. You know, this is very common. I mean, I don't know. I always know I have this kind. This kind of mind is there. So it's kind of observing the mind. But you know, actually when you're observing this kind of mind, you don't have a problem. But the problem when you think much like, oh, today is my bad day, then, you know, things change. The worry, sorrow, lamentation, grief comes. But if you
Why
just...
sort of just cuts that off? You just mind.
No, when you just know it, yeah. So all right. And then what does mean by the asamahita and then the samahita 21 and 22? First we talk about the asamahita. So or maybe we talk about the samahita because it's easier to say. Talk about 22nd. So it means that when somebody have the concentrated mind, because your mind can very easily to be concentrated all the time. That's mean by the concentrated mind. And then anytime you like to focus and concentrate, you can be concentrate without any block. In other words, means samahita, you know, is always to do with the jhana. So you can enter jhana anytime. Okay? No matter what kind of jhana, even just first jhana. So, or even maybe just there's upajjhara samadhi, like that. So you can, anytime you are in the jhana, so without any hindrance or any block. Not, when I say hindrance, it's not the 5 hindrances, because that is the previous one. That whether you have a calm mind, whether you have this tranquility mind, not tranquility mind, that was with the 5 hindrances. This only thinking that without any block for you to can enter the jhana. So the opposite one is 21, I don't have to explain. Mean that you do, you know, sometimes you want to enter the jhana, but it is blocking you. So you cannot do it, right? Not all the time. It's always that blocking you, like that. And then what I mean by 24, 24 means the mind that you don't practice, right? In other words, mean you are not doing anything that what we just learned. Okay, like either you should focus on your body, anyway, elements, 4 elements, or anything. Or either the feelings, or either the mind, you don't do anything with that. Or either the Dharma, we're going to discuss when we have time. So that means anything that you're not doing with that, so that you know you don't have a practice mind. And anything to do with that, you know you have a practice mind, right? So And then the last thing, of course, then the same way as I explained, what does it mean by the liberated mind, the 25th and 26th? And with the liberated mind, it means because you know that you are not liberated from anything, okay? So generally refer to the three things, and sometimes refer to the defilements, the 10 defilements. So like, jealousy, anger, and all sort of things, or the hatred and this, or whether you have this liberated mind or without the liberated mind, okay? But it's very interesting to understand also. So the earlier stage, there were 8 kinds of mind, from collected mind up to the tranquility mind. Remember? Look at it. There's 8 of them. Collected mind, from the tranquility mind. There are 8 of them, or 4 pairs, but there are 8. Right? Get it now? But they are actually mostly relate to the hindrances. Okay? Hindrances, the 5 hindrances. And then the rest, that means start from the concentrated mind, with the concentration, it immediately relate to the defilements, pleasure, 烦恼. Okay, now we'll have a break. Let you have this rest mind, eating mind, or urination mind, whatever mind you have. And then we will back here by 10 minutes. Okay, thank you. Yeah. And then if you have questions, or after that, after eating mind and all kind of mind, you can come back.
What's the differentiation between contemplation and mindfulness?
Anupassi?
Yeah, because
the word contemplation is anupassi.
So that has to go on like 24/7. It seems like contemplation is always happening in meditation or outside of meditation. Contemplation is always happening. Right? You're always mindful.
Let me see the contemplation. I think it is sometimes. Actually, even in English, sometimes contemplation has been translated. I look at it.
Because in English, it seems like reflection you think about, but it's different way, of course.
No, actually, the word contemplation here, at least in Pali, used as anupassi.
To see, right? There is
Constantly see. Follow up in seeing. So you see, but it's not just see. Continuously see, called anupassi. Anu is refer to one after another. There's a prefix, but it means one after another.
So you constantly.
Pasi means see, yeah.
So it's always stay mindful.
Teaching first, and then go to see it. Okay, you get it now. So that's the thing that we are saying, that because this is a practice the text. So now we back to this. What you see in the Dhamma. Okay. All right. Shall we read it first? So just read the page 44, the last paragraph. Yeah.
And bhikkhus, how does a bhikkhu abide contemplating Dhamma with regards to Dhamma? Here a bhikkhu abide contemplating Dhamma in terms of the 5 hindrances. And how does a bhikkhu abide contemplating Dhamma in terms of 5 hindrances? When the mindfulness and the enlightenment factor is present in me, he knows there's the mindfulness and the enlightenment factors in me. When the mindfulness and the enlightenment factor is not present in him, he knows there is no mindfulness and the enlightenment factors in me. And so when it has not arisen, he knows how the mindfulness and enlightenment factors arises. When it has arisen, he knows how it is brought to full development. When ill will is present in him, when sloth and torpor is present in him, when restlessness and remorse is present in him, when doubt is present in him, a bhikkhu knows there is doubt in me. When it is not present in him, he knows there is no doubt in me. And so when it has not arisen, he knows how it will arise. When it has arisen, he knows how it is abandoned. And when it has been abandoned, he knows how it will arise in the future. In this way, he abides contemplating Dhamma with regards to the Dhamma internally, or he abides contemplating the Dhamma with regards to the Dhamma externally, or he abides contemplating Dhamma with regards to the Dhamma both internally and externally, or he abides contemplating Dhamma in observing the rising phenomena, or he abides contemplating the Dhamma in observing the ceasing of phenomena, or he abides contemplating Dhamma in observing the rising and ceasing of phenomena. Or mindfulness that there is Dhamma is virtually present in him as far as for the purpose of knowledge and fully remembrance. He abides independently, not clinging to anything in the world. This is how Bhikkhu abides contemplating the Dhamma with regards to Dhamma in terms of the 5 hindrances.
Okay, thank you. I think there was something wrong with the translation. Anyone can tell me? I have to blend some more again. There's something wrong with the translation. I was finding so strange.
Why is that the 7 factors of enlightenment there? Is that it? Is that what you're saying?
That's so strange.
Is that what you're saying? The 7 factors?
It is true,
there, right?
because actually it should be the same thing when the first one. So of course the same. And bhikkhus, how does a bhikkhu abide contemplating Dhamma with regard to Dhamma? Here, a bhikkhu abides contemplating Dhamma in terms of the 5 hindrances. I mean, he understands this, the mental object. It is complete mental object. It's nothing to do with the physical. This kind of complete mental object, which is real true Dhamma, real true phenomena. So it's with regard to what? Firstly, it's the 5 hindrances, because only when you know that very well, you can cast that away. The 5 hindrances, even though you are not in the jhana, but your mind your wisdom become very clear, okay? Because then your focus, your samadhi, this samadhi doesn't necessarily always have to be the jhana, but the samadhi is so stable, okay? But the problem is the next sentence. And how does a bhikkhu abide contemplating Dhamma in terms of 5 hindrances? The first one is not the enlightenment factors. Sorry. It should be when the last, so when the desire or when the last in present in him, okay? So everyone please change it. When the last is present in him, a bhikkhu knows there is the last in me. Okay. So in other words, you just replace the word mindfulness, the mindfulness enlightenment factors, put that away. Okay? And then the mindfulness enlightenment factors change it to the last.
Yep.
Okay. So the same thing when there is the last, when the last is not present in him, he knows there's no last present in him. And so when it has not arisen, he knows how the last arises. When it has arisen, he knows how. Does it have the? No, you don't have to say. So when it has arisen, he knows how it is abandoned. Okay. Just like the below one.
He knows how it is abandoned. Okay.
And when it has been abandoned, he knows how it will not arise.
We don't want.
Yeah. So it's just like just like the next paragraph. The next paragraph say, the last one, when it has arisen, he knows how it is abandoned. And when it has been abandoned, he knows how it will not arise in the future. right there. Okay, just exactly the same there. But changed. I don't know why this. I was surprised when you read it. How this? Okay. This is correction is always never ending.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean the 5 hindrances we all know, but I want to say this is. It looks like you remember in the previous passage. Actually, we did talk about something about 5 hindrances already, especially with regard to the last, and then with regard to the agitation, and with regard to the drowsiness, and then the sleepiness, right? And then, however, maybe you could say that also the hatred, right? It's also there. Mm-hmm. But now this is particularly to Buddhism, the 5 hindrances that you have to observe. That means, let's say, when the drowsiness comes, you know there's a drowsiness comes. So, and then when it ceases, you know it ceases. And then when it's been abandoned, you know it's been abandoned. And when you know he will not be arise in the future, then you know it's not arise in the future. For example, you might have a drowsiness, but then you have overcome the drowsiness. Let's say you by overcome the drowsiness because you were so energetic to your meditation that at the drowsiness go, and you know it will not come. The future here, it could be a short future and long future, of course. So we must also understand this is just at the same time, people always judge, and I always tell people in meditation, they say, oh, look at the teacher, he also sleep while meditate. Don't be surprised, okay? But it's also believed that.
I've seen that a lot. It's okay.
But if it always sleep, it's not good, of course. But no. I mean, if it sleeps, fine. But we must understand to Buddhist understanding, the only one who do not have these 5 hindrances appear at all, but never appear is only the Buddha and Arahant. Okay. Anyway, then that is but as I understand, as I just mentioned, why we say the Dharma, because that is the contemplation. All right, I think the time is up. I guess I don't want to but I will explain a little bit more these 5 hindrances later on. But then the next one will be the 5 aggregates that are affected by the clinging, and then the 6 external and internal bases, right? I guess I don't think we will finish. Next class we'll finish the 7 enlightenment factors. But anyway, if you have time, you can read through that too. But at least try to read. At least, still have to basically remember what these 5 hindrances are, and what these 5 aggregates are. Okay, and then what are these so-called 6 internal and external bases? Okay, and then we'll discuss that from the next class. Okay, is it next week? Do we have? Yeah, we have class next week. So we discussed that 3 that with regard to the Dharma. Okay. So thank you for your attendance. We do the transfer merit first before. End of class. Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You have a collective mind or distracted mind? All right, thank you, Fanny.